Hello everyone, I hope you're all enjoying the Mindfulness series presentation. I will be talking about a very important element that is part of mindfulness, being present, being in the moment. Today I will be talking about attention to breath and present action, the doing mode versus the being mode, being present and how it's related to parenting, and I will be giving some examples of present parenting. Let me explain what I mean by being present. Although for all of us, our bodies have no choice but to live all the time in the present, our minds spend a lot of time in the future or the past, thinking about things we need to do or things we should have done. Although we need to take time to plan our days, much of the time you likely spend thinking or rethinking something that is going to or has already happened could be spent in the present instead, experiencing the present moment. For many of us, this is very difficult. For example, raise your hand if you can say that during this presentation, your mind has never wandered to something you need to do or something that happened this morning. This is part of the point I'm trying to make. Everyone's minds wander away from the present, and although we're not saying that it's always bad, it will help to focus yourself more on the present, because the present is where you can act. When you become a parent, it is extremely important to be more present for your child, because children, especially younger children, live very much in the present, and they want you to live with them in the present, to bond with you. How we can be present with our children? One of the strategies we use when teaching new parents to play with their young children is just to have them sit on the floor and give a running comment of everything the child is doing in the present moment. For example, you're stacking blocks. Children love this because they're communicating to them that you're there with them, experiencing the present moment. So ways you can exercise this practice of being in the present moment include taking moments in your day to pay attention to your breathing. It doesn't mean that you should breathe a certain way, but simply draw your attention to something that your body is doing without your mind intervening. Another way you can practice being in the present is by trying to have a conversation with someone solely about the present without making references to the future. The last way is something you can do during any activity in which you want to be more present, and that is drawing your attention to the information you are getting from your senses. Like we said, your body is always living in the present moment, so a way to ground your mind in the present is to draw your focus to things like you can taste, hear, touch, see, and smell. Let's focus more on our parenting. As parents, we're doing things all the time. We make to-do lists on paper or simply carry the to-do list in our heads. Many of us feel so overwhelmed by what we need to do that we're constantly pushing ourselves ahead. While we're working on one task, we're thinking about the next 3 ahead. Some psychologists who study mindfulness introduce the terms doing mode and being mode. Psychologists introduce the term doing mode to describe our problem-solving mind that help us to get things done. In doing mode, the goal is what's important, and we don't necessarily pay attention about the process of getting there. Mindfulness offers the possibility of another way, the being mode. When we pay attention to our moment-to-moment experience, we're in the being mode, where experience is what is happening as it happens, rather than jumping ahead to anticipate the goal. The funny thing is that we can also do things that we need to do, but in the being mode rather than doing mode. Here is an example. It's 8 p.m. Dinner has just finished. Your son's bedtime is 8:30, but he needs to take a shower. Meanwhile, the dishes are still piled up and need to be washed. The trash has to be taken out, and you need to throw a lot of laundry in the washer. And at 9 p.m., your favorite shows come up, which you look forward to all week. You think to yourself, if I hurry up, I can get this all done in time to settle into the couch by 9. You go into your doing mode. Have you ever noticed what happened to your parenting when you try to do this? You may catch yourself reading the story quickly to your son, not really paying attention to the words or how your son is reacting. While saying goodnight, you tuck him in, but you are thinking whether you'll make it downstairs in time for your show. In that moment, you can shift to simply being with your son instead of planning ahead. You can switch to the being mode, simply being aware of what you're doing with him. It actually doesn't have to take a second longer. It's just being present with what is happening. It's paying attention to the process instead of the end result. When you shift to being with your son, you may notice his eyes or what his body is doing, or you may notice that your breath slows a bit. You're still doing something, but in the being mode. When we do things with our child in the being mode, we get an extra benefit, the chance to be really present in our child's life in that moment.